Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina goal.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Welcome to the Vic Akers Wonderland podcast, episode 3. It's been a minute. It's been about 2 weeks. We've had a lot of interesting, or not so interesting, international football. 2 times champions of the Arnold Clarke Cup, which I did watch some of, but it wasn't that as appetising as it was last year. So I didn't watch as many minutes. But we'll get on to that. As always, I am joined by Matt and also Adam. How are you boys this evening?
It's been a long one for me. I do apologise keeping you all late. Now I've had a meeting with the supporters club, so a lot of things that are being talked about, but it's a long journey. Just to let people know that if you are looking for a Geo shirt, you can't get it at the moment. And it is, hopefully we're going to sort it all out soon.
I hope so, because I'd like a Geo shirt for next season, for sure.
She's the only one of the players not to get a shirt. Even Taya's got shirt.
No.
You can get.
Wow.
But the question is, will it be Geo on the back?
Yes.
I hope so. That's good.
Because otherwise it's Queiroz, and then you have to have the it's the Portuguese one of the Portuguese letters, and they have to do.
Yeah, I'm sure if someone wanted her actual name, they'd do it, because they do it for Martin Odegaard. You got the special O, Norwegian O.
Oh, the slash through the slash.
Yeah, the slash through the O. Yeah. So I'm sure they'll do it if someone really wants it. But I definitely want a Geo shirt next season.
Yeah.
Definitely, or a Rafaeli. It's one of them two at the moment. Because I've as much as I love my girl, I'm like, my girl Mead. I'm like, I need to choose somebody else this season. How are you, Adam?
Tired. It's been a long week, and I'm just. It's been tough. There's been no WSL football. Although maybe in retrospect that's probably a bit of a blessing, considering how the start of the year has actually gone for us. So we've actually seen some our players, likes of Leah, win and win well. So in our Arnold Clarke Cup for England. So yes, we'll probably talk about that, and then talk about what's to come this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main thing from the Arnold Clarke Cup for me, I still can't pronounce it.
Just call it ACC, the ACC.
No, I'd rather give it the respect it's due, because England are 2 times champions. It's got to be done. So everyone can sit here and laugh at me. I don't mind. No, I think the best 2 goals were the screamers from the one and only Rachel Daly. I absolutely loved it, and I'm like, people say to me, she's better than a defender for England. I'm like, are you crazy? Have you seen some of the goals she's scored this season?
Yeah, but she's a decent left back, you know. she won the Euros, so left back. So
but she's meant to be up top of the pitch like she was at Aston Villa.
You wouldn't have heard the unbelievable discussions I've heard. So, like, some people think Rachel Daly would make a good defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
She can't. Do you know what? She's probably that versatile. She could, but I prefer her as a striker. I'm sorry, but it's the only reason, because Jordan's now up there. It's the only reason I watch Aston Villa, and I quite like. Is it
Kenza Darley?
Kenza Darley as well. I quite enjoy watching her as well at the moment.
She was fantastic for Everton when she was over there.
Yeah. No, I've also I may have 3 Villa girls in my fantasy team at the moment. Matt, are you still playing? Actually,
I am still playing. I've actually it took me a while to take out Viv and
just accept it. She's not going to play this season. It's just accept it and move on.
Do you know what? I couldn't bring myself to take out Beth Mead from my team. I've actually put her on the bench as my last sub. I couldn't do it. My team is basically named after her. It's a bit like with the men's. moves like Saka. I'm not going to take Bukayo Saka out of my team. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but unlike
That's the only
Saka,
problem.
Mead is injured, so it has to be in memory of Beth Mead rather than.
Yeah, but I kept the same name I had in the Euros, so Lotta Media. Even Lotta might not be in my team, but she's in the name. So
Just change it to Lottie Woodburn Moyes, and then you're all right.
unfortunately, I don't know how to do that.
I don't think
But anyhow,
changed your team name on there, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. But
yeah.
it's
If anybody does want to join our She Plays League, there's only 3 of us playing at the moment, and sadly that doesn't include our ultra competitive Adam Salter. He is politely declined to join us.
Someone can take my space. Someone can take my space
from the World Cup. If you do want to join our league, it's on the website is called She Plays. It is an Australian website, and I will put the code below this video. It's all a bit of fun. I know it's halfway through the season, but Matt's still got a lot of catching up to do to me yet, and there is someone else above me. So come join us. It's all a bit of fun, and it'd be really good. Matt, what did you make of the Arnold Clarke Cup?
It was difficult for me just personally because of work and everything like that. So there were times where I was missing games, especially the opening game against South Korea, yes. So basically, by the time I was able to watch like a first half an hour. Then I was walking back home, and I basically missed most of the game. The last one I saw was the 4th goal from Lauren James, I believe it was. So just it's just typical Lauren James. If I'm honest, when I saw that, it was just. This is the odd thing with Lauren James is she literally just is a runner. Anytime you see her, she runs into the space. And then she'll have a shot. She did it against us at the Emirates, and everything kept on going over the bar or really wide. One time it banana skin near the corner flag. The next time it went banana skin the other side towards the corner flag. It was really weird seeing her getting a lot of praise because, to be honest, I see the promise, but at the same time, she needs to work on her shooting. If she's ballooning everything sideways or nowhere near the goal, basically. So it's really odd. I didn't think she was player of the tournament for me. Personally, I think there was 3 or 4 other players that I could have looked at. I could have looked at someone from the South Korea team. Could have looked at, especially that Italian team. The Italian team's amazing. As it is.
Yeah, I'm really gutted I missed some of the Italian games. I really wanted to have a good look at. Is it Girelli? I've forgotten her first name, but I really wanted to have a look at her because I've read some interesting things on her. I'm hoping she'll go to the World Cup. I'm hoping they will.
She was in our group for the for Juventus, and she was quite dangerous. But
no, she did look good. But for me, it's one thing playing for your club, on club level, but international, some people turn into a complete different beast, so to speak, when they're playing.
And then the Belgian game, I was lucky enough to just be able to sit back and relax and enjoy that one. But what to say? Just sitting there thinking, it's 1-0, 2-0. Oh, they got one back. Oh, Leah Williamson scored one.
2 in the end.
Yeah.
And then it's 4, 5, and then Leah Williams picks up on another one at lot. To be honest, she deserved player of the match for that because she was amazing throughout. I've seen some of the stills that she has where she's of her being of the leader that she is, and she was just fantastic. If I had to pick a player of the tournament, I would have probably gave it to. If it was any of the England team, it's hard because you want someone that's played all 3 games, and obviously there was a lot of rotation. So I would have probably given it to Georgia Stanway, if I'm honest, because she was quite solid. A lot of people seem to have gone off her all of a sudden and on focusing on Kira Walsh, and everyone's asking who's going to be Kira Walsh's replacement in the summer if, say, for example, she comes off or she has an injury. We got enough coverage, I think, just personally. There's been a bit of a debate about Zellum again. Just no. She can't dribble for anything, and as
To
Adam,
me, no.
as,
Sorry, go on, Matt. Go on, Matt.
yeah, as Adam's mentioned, she is a set piece specialist, but that's all she seems to be
Yeah.
capable of. Whereas at least a certain Southampton man, he does everything. He can pass it, he can cross it, he can do everything else apart from the set pieces. Well, with the set pieces even. And he's a leader on and off the pitch as well. But we're here to talk about the women. I was a bit of a shame, really. I didn't get to see much of Jess Park. I really quite like her. Apparently, she was playing as an attacking midfielder in the Italy game, which is a really odd role because I consider her more of a striker or a winger. And if I'm honest, I would probably put Jess Park on that right hand side. If you have a Kelly come off, for example, it would be Jess Park that comes on because she just is unbelievable. Tight spaces, she'll be able to get the ball in. She'll work quite well with Alessia Russo up top or Rachel Daly. So it's an extra weapon in the Serena Weidman's pocket.
Yeah, but do you know what? Sometimes I sit here and question this, but I do think there's a method to Serena's madness when she does things like that. And it works, and it's kind of scary. It works. Adam, did you manage to watch much at all of the ACC?
As much as I sort of could, like Matt, sort of juggling it around work. So yeah, I think I saw the first two games, 90 minutes of both. The last game, the Belgian game, I sort of saw the second half of, because I was sort of bouncing. I had a game on in the bar where I was staying. They had the BT, the Champions League on. I was there, both watched that with a colleague, and so I had the other game on sort of on the side, and there was sort of an overlap, so I was bouncing into two. The problem I had was with the tournament as a whole is, I mean, I loved the Arnold Clarke Cup last year. It was amazing. There's some really, some teams with real clout that were really going to challenge an England team that had until then not won anything. We can't really judge an England team on beating teams like Lithuania and Latvia and Luxembourg 10, 20-0. It's these sort of games. And we went in these games and they were really competitive and really on a knife edge. And we only won one game, and that was Germany, and that was with 5 minutes to go. And each game felt like a World Cup tie. And it felt like at the end of it, we had warranted winning that thing because we kept a brilliant Spain team at bay. We'd hung in against Canada. Canada were the first team in Serena's reign to really, they were the first team to us not to beat. It ended up winning run, and it was like, oh, hang on a minute, there's this is a proper team here. And then Germany, obviously beating Germany is always great, as we saw in the summer. So yeah, that was an amazing tournament. And then the Euros was that even better. It was even the whole, as we all remember, when the pictures and the memories of it will last forever. So we come back to this Arnold Clarke Cup the next year. And no offense to South Korea and Belgium and Italy, but they're not of the same opposition standard. There was no jeopardy. There was no jeopardy throughout the entire tournament. It was like watching England play three of their qualifiers. And so you turned up, and it was like the only moment of slight worry was in the Italy game when we played a hyper rotated team, and we just needed Daly to get an extra goal because Ellie Roebuck had a flapper across. I mean, I just feel so sorry for Roebuck. What has happened to her England career? Mary Earps has just blown her out of the water, quite frankly. I mean, Roebuck until the Olympics was the keeper to follow Karen Bartley, and now anyway. I struggle to really mentally invest in the tournament. I'm chuffed for England, chuffed they won, chuffed that Leah Williamson gets to lift yet another trophy. I thought there was a really nice touch at the end when she dedicated it to June Mead and wished Beth all the best in recovery. I thought that was a really nice touch from Leah. Great that Leah got on the scoreboard as well. But it was just an element of formality. So I looked sort of around the tournament and said, what's happening beyond the football? What I liked was the stadiums they used. They were going around the country, going to places like Bristol, going to places. Bristol, for example, didn't get a game at the Euros, so there's a chance for those in the West Country to go and watch them. Stadium MK obviously did host the Euros. England didn't play there, and obviously it's Leah Williams' hometown, which is nice. And another one, I think it was Coventry. They played in Melbourne, and you look in the ground, and the crowds are good. They're actually better than they were in the last Arnold Clarke Cup, which I think they had one of them was at Molineux, I think, and only one. The last game against Germany was at Molineux, and only one stand was full. But I was watching it on the TV and I thought there was a decent crowd in these stadiums, and that's obviously the Euros effect. and England winning, and winning comfortably will obviously help that. But no, sadly, I just didn't engage with it. I just didn't. The level of opposition didn't draw me in. There was no jeopardy because England were going to win. It would have been a shock if England had drawn any of those games. It would have something, and okay, Italy was sort of close. It would have been a seismic shock, and maybe would have set off some alarm bells. On the positives, there are positives. With some of the players I got to see properly for the first time. Lauren James, I can understand what Matt means. She only got one goal. I think she's very raw. I think she's a bit like Lauren Hemp. I think she's fast on the wing. She can score goals. She's got a great goal against Spurs before the international break. Let's not forget. And I think she's been coaxed into this team by Emma Hayes, and she's sort of come in because Pernilla Harder's injured. And I think we'll probably discuss later on, but I think she's going to be one to potentially, if she stays fit, to watch at this World Cup. Really tough for Chloe Kelly. It looks like she's finally put that ACL nightmare behind her. She, top scorer of the tournament. Fair play to her. And lots of exciting youngsters as well, like Laetitia Robinson. Robinson sadly didn't get her goal. I think she was rather close. Jess Parker, as Matt mentioned, obviously as well. I think it's key that Serena now with all these departures of Jill Scott leaving, Ellen White retiring, that we bleed in these younger players coming through. It's going to be a different team at the World Cup, and one of these players we can see at this Arnold Clarke Cup could make their name, just like Beth Mead did at the Euros. One of the ones we saw this week could be that sort of player at the next Euros. So it'll be a good experience for them. Another trophy, up there with our She Believes wins and Arnold Clarke wins, on to the World Cup.
No, definitely. I do have to ask you two about this, but I don't know if you guys noticed on Sky for the Italy game. This is the lineup that Sky came up with, and it really annoyed me. We had Ellie Roebuck in goal. Yeah, that's where she's supposed to be. The back four, we had Kieran Walsh, Rachel Daly, Jess Cartin, Alex Greenwood. Middle of the park, we had Jess Park, ironically, Lauren Hemp, Niamh Charles, and up front we've got Maya Letitia, and then Casey Robinson and Laura Coombs.
That's quite the team.
As some of these guys looking at their positioning, they look at it in Italy every week domestically. You think they'd get it right?
Maybe they got the Letitia's mixed up.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It happens. It happens a lot.
Like, when have you known Kira Walsh to play in the defence? I know I haven't.
Yeah, you can't defend that sort of stuff.
Rachel Daly, I expect to see there. Do you know what I mean? And
rightly so. That's where she belongs.
It's just poor. It's poor match reporting for me.
It happens a lot, even on the BBC website. I remember there was a game where we lost, drew or something, and I looked at the lineup, and it was so. I mean, our lineup was strange anyway, and the formation was strange. But the BBC just sort of amplified the oddities. It's like even the BBC did not know how we were lining up for our women's game, and it does have. You do see a lot of odd players and odd positions.
I've never seen something.
No, that is
bad.
like another level. I grant you that. But
I wonder if it's something to do with the numbers, because for whatever reason it bugs me when they do the numbers. So you'll have your number one, and then for some reason it'll be the number 7 next, and then you think, hold on, number 7. Let's say Missy Bocans. Missy Bocans plays up front. Why is she playing right back? It doesn't make sense. Instead of doing it by numbers, do it by positions.
Exactly.
It was like I was at the under 23s actually, funny enough, because the women came over to Prenton Park, so went to the game. Was able to meet one of my favourite under 23s goalkeeper, Kale Rendell, played fantastically in that game, even though she did concede one. But
I hope we won that game. I actually never asked you that when we had a conversation about it.
Anna Patton got on the score sheet, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
Yes.
So she's been fantastic as well. She's really working on her heading. So I'm hoping what happens is that I'm expecting Jen Beattie at the end of the season to retire. Anna Patton comes straight in.
You know what? I'd love that. The one thing if Jen does go, the one thing I will miss is her being in the box for a header. You can just rely on her for the moment. She scored a wicked header in the
FA Cup.
Against Leeds.
Yeah,
Is it
Leeds
against
FA Cup.
Yeah, against Leeds. I did like that one. It just hit off
Exactly.
my head and it's straight in. It was beautiful.
It's the only way we can score at the moment, isn't it? Just chuck a centre back in the
Yeah,
Convert
no,
yards and
exactly.
sliver. Convert the crosses.
Exactly. I mean, Rafaeli's goal against City was good, but I did feel like the team was a bit bored. So, and she was the only one.
The Man City or the Arsenal
Man
team?
City away, yeah.
Yeah, that was
The
a
rest of the team
strange
looked a
game.
bit bored. So it was a bit odd, to be honest with you. But we're through to the final, so that's what counts for me.
Yeah.
I will give up 3 points to be in that final. So
it was always going to be
I'm
the
quite-
way, wasn't it? 3 points or a cup final, what would you take?
Yeah, cup final every time.
Exactly.
This week and next week it's a through to the next round or a trophy. What would you rather have?
Yeah, but unfortunately we can't choose. If only it was that easy,
It's never that easy. It's a bit like someone's. I'm just going to touch on this. Someone said to me, although there's rumours that Saka's now going to verbally agreed a new contract in 2028, would you give up Saka to another team if it meant us winning the league?
No. Because
I would rather have both. I can't choose.
But here's what I'll also say is a league, you can win a league, but that'll just be for one season. But Saka is for seasons to come as well. So why would you mortgage your staff for a bit of short-term success now? No, I'll keep him. I'd rather lose the league this season, keep Saka, and win the league another season. So that's a nonsense question and not for
Oh no, definitely. There's a bit like if you change the perception, it's like selling Beth Mead.
Exactly.
Someone else.
Yeah, or Stina Blackstenius to get another striker. Oh, we'll gloss over that.
If she can stay onside.
Can't be offside from a penalty.
You know, if you can do this for a long investing, it's just need to stay onside.
Yeah.
We love you, but you need to stay onside.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're back on Sunday. Back to WSL.
Or FA Cup, rather.
Football's back. Been a bit lost the last 2 weeks, personally, but
yeah.
I had the men's to keep me occupied, but it's just like, where are the Arsenal women? I missed this. So I've actually missed you guys, so it is good to be back. But we're back on Sunday at 2:00 on BBC Two from 1:45 away in Kings Meadow. I'm not going, thankfully. I'm not ready to set my foot down there yet. But are you going down to Chelsea?
I'm not going. I have been to Kings Meadow. I was there last season for that redonkulous 0-0 draw with some of the greatest no goals were scored, but it had some of the greatest 8 minutes of stoppage time, including a legendary Leah Williamson handball. And there is an amazing and I do advise, if you watch the highlights back, there is an amazing moment where the camera pans onto Leah Williamson's face and you can just see on her face that she knows she's just got away with one. It's an amazing it was a brilliant, and I was at the other end of the pitch, but we could just hear screams of Chelsea fans just saying, it was a clear penalty, and the league was lost after that. The league was lost after that, but that was a very bonkers, funny game.
Yeah.
For those of you going by train, good luck. No trains are operating into Norbiton this weekend. But I'm not going. I'll be watching on TV. It's just the game is so stressful, so weighted, given how our team are at the moment, given the struggles we've had. I mean, it's well documented, our form since the turn of the year. We've not won in the WSL. We've only won in 2 games in the Conti Cup and 1 game in the FA Cup, and obviously this next round is against Chelsea. I'm not confident, and I don't think that's I don't say defeatist, but I don't think that's an illogical position to have. It's just Chelsea are Chelsea. They'll be rubbish and they'll win.
Thing is, they get the goals out of nowhere, and that's the problem.
They've got players like Sam Kerr. They've got players like Lauren James who can, just find a moment of genius and just like, Guro right in another one. They'll just find a goal and then they'll just keep coming and coming and coming again.
Yeah.
And we don't really know how we're going to line up. Will we be a back 3? Will we be back 4? Will Leah Volti start? it's going to be fascinating how it plays out, because we've played Chelsea twice. We've got them this weekend and we've got them next weekend in probably the more important game, the Conti Cup final, a game that if we want this season to be any sort of success, we have to win that one. So Jonas has got to go into this game. Obviously, you'll want to win. And obviously, if you knock Chelsea out, suddenly the FA Cup is like wide open for him, because it's pretty much just him, no offense to any of the teams. Okay, they're great, but for him, it'll just, if he knocks out Chelsea, it's Man City and Man United are the two other big hitters in the draw. Based on the WSL League table. So he'll want to win, but he won't want to show his whole hand. I mean, we beat Man City in the Conti Cup, and then about 3 days later, we lost them in the league, playing the same way. So we'll see. Maybe Leah Williamson will come back from the Arnold Clarke full of confidence and wanting to lift another trophy, and maybe she, with her, she'll inspire us to bigger and better things. It's going to be a really good watch. The game we all went to at the, I don't know if you went, Matt, but obviously me and you, Lottie, we went to the game at the Emirates, and Arsenal were so unlucky. They were so close with the team they had. They very nearly pulled it out the bag.
I was actually sitting behind Matt in the stadium.
All right. Of course, no, because I heard just now.
I took a picture. Was it the Chelsea game? I took a picture of you, Matt, in your scarf.
Oh no, that was the United game.
Okay, yeah, no, I knew it was one of them because we had the same seats in behind the away bench. But we did have some fun at that Chelsea game.
No, we did. Yes,
telling Emma Hayes to get back in her box every time she stepped out. It went. I think it went to 1-1. She started looking for us in thing. It's one of my favourite memories of the season. I've had some fun with that. People in the block next door kept shouting it, and then they ended up singing with us. It was great.
Yeah. Moment of joy in what was unfortunately a slightly disappointing result. Worse news. Obviously, we've lost D'Angelo and Hurtig to injury, so more to add to the sick bay.
But at least most of the team have come back in one piece.
Yes,
that's what I love to hear. And hopefully, Kimmy will be fully recharged. She's been on holiday with Viv and Becca in Miami, Florida.
I know, she's been over.
The pictures look absolutely brilliant, and I'm really liking her nickname, Kittle. I actually quite like that.
Yeah, how has that not become a thing, Dr.
Kittle? I know, right?
I know.
I'm gonna have to start. We're just gonna have to start calling her Kittle. It just works. I'm like, yeah. That's...
Oh, I'm just gonna call her Skittles from now on. That's just gonna be the
brilliant.
Well, she does bring the rainbows.
Yes, exactly. Some of
does, and I don't know what it is when they went to Emirates at the men's games, and she comes on. I look straight up because I can hear this thick Scottish accent. I'm like, yeah, that's our Kim. I think it's the anti-discrimination video.
Oh yes. When they do the thing on the
it's the only part I proper look up and yeah, that's our girl. So I'm glad that they got one of the girls involved. I think that they could have had one more, because obviously they're a big part of the
LGBTQ plus
community. So. Yeah, and it's a pretty big thing because I think for Pride, Jen jumped on the bus with a few others.
Jordan Hobbs was on the Pride bus as well.
Yeah.
There was a few, but yeah, I mean, it's the captain, isn't it? The captain of the women's team. I think Aaron Ramsdale does a thing on there as well. For the men's team. So, and I think it's just one for the men's, one for the women's, and then some obviously other fans as well. So no, I think so it's a good video, and it's always
definitely it needs to be mentioned because some people have still got that prehistoric dinosaur mindset, and it's not
sadly,
welcome at our club.
Absolutely, that's quite
not
right.
At all. As me and Adam were discussing beforehand about Randy Renard and her comments, and she's now retired not retired, temporarily suspended playing for the French team. Her opinions are not so great on that subject, but I will never take away that she's a good footballer.
No, and her withdrawal is part of her. As I was saying, it's part of a bigger problem with the way that French football is at the moment, and not just René Renard, other players have stood down as well. I think about 3 so far. It could potentially be more, and it just sort of highlights, like with Spain, like with Canada, there is a major problem with how our women's teams are being run around the world, and that in itself is not acceptable either.
No, exactly. I mean, after the massive tournament we've just had, you think countries like France, Spain. I know Canada wasn't in the Euros, but you think the investment would be there for them.
They won the Olympics.
Yeah,
they are the Olympic champions.
There's that as well.
And they have the greatest ever international goal scorer in Sinclair. She was an icon. They are a successful women's team who ran a great World Cup, and their federation have just not I think they've cut their funding or refusing of funding. They can't afford to run, but they're
Cuts.
exactly. And then you got the French team, some of the most talented players you will ever see.
Yeah.
I remember we could never beat them for love or money in tournaments, in Euros and World Cups. So much talent just being completely mismanaged by the FA with a manager. If the manager is not liked by the players, if it's a Premier League team, the manager will be gone. I mean, we've seen managers be fired because the dressing room's lost, but federations are willing to say, yeah, we'll just keep that person there. It's same with Spain.
The thing is there many people out there willing to manage these women's teams? That is the question.
No, there aren't enough managers in circulation.
We've got the best manager, and we ain't going to be giving her up very easily.
Speaking of which, Adam, Lydia Bedford has become assistant coach.
Yes, the ex-Leicester City women's coach who was, after the shenanigans at Leicester, where the director of football thought he could do a better job, and so sacked the manager so he could become the manager in Willie Kirk.
Who was sacked from Everton last season because he was doing so badly.
Because of all the signings. Yeah, he was sacked after we beat them 3-0 and Frida Nielsen-Mornham scored an absolute screamer.
And Katie. I still love
that. Katie, yes, I was there for that.
Hands on hips. I've got another one.
And then he said in his interview, Nielsen-Mornham, she was a player we wanted, but then she went to Arsenal. And then, Willie Kirk was sacked soon after. So, no, he's at Leicester. And because if it was Leanne Hall? Was it the player who left? We had a coach who been off one. I
can't go back on it, but
you know what I mean. But just came up with yesterday. Lydia Bedford. She's joined as an assistant coach, and welcome aboard. Great to have you on, and hopefully you can.
Definitely.
It's gonna. Good luck to you here. Hopefully we can have a good career here.
She's got she's been one of the very rare people to be able to get a UEFA A license through the English FA.
Wow.
So, and she did that at the age of 25. So I don't know how old she is at the moment, but I'm just going to say it was a couple of years. I'll just imagine it was, let's say, about 5 years ago, to be on the nice side. But the fact that we've got someone in, I think it just shows you that maybe we're looking at new ways to learn as a team and develop. And I think her insight is going to be quite useful, to be honest, for Jonas.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting.
She's got the credentials because she kept Leicester City up last season, so she must have she must have had something.
Yeah, but maybe she wants to take it up to the next level because we don't go down. We're normally up the top of the table, somewhere the top four.
Top four.
Top four. And so I think it could be really interesting to see what we can do, and it's probably also looking for alternative ways to play without Beth, play without Viv, in case something like this happens again. Not that I wish it will. I'm touching wood. I don't want it to happen, but we need to find ways to play without them.
It is a problem, the lack of Viv, and I'm probably thinking about this when you look at over the and I don't like to look over the other side of London, but if you look at Chelsea, they've had
the small club in Fulham.
The small club, the Fulham Blues, we call them. They've lost Pernilla Harder to injury for the rest of the season, and Frank Kirby can't stay fit. But they've been able to. They're two star players, but they've been able to overcome that by putting in players of equal quality in Guru Wrighton and Lauren James, and it's not stopped the momentum. The problem Arsenal have is they simply don't have a Beth Mead equivalent and a Vivian Meadow equivalent that they could just we've lost two players to our best aces to injury, but we don't have enough race. Now one could say there are no players like Viv and there are no players like Beth Mead, and yes, that is true. But if you look at the men's team, Eddie Nketiah's come in for Gabriel Jesus. And he's not as good as Gabriel Jesus, but he has held the shop for as long as possible until Gabriel Jesus can come back in. And I'm not saying Eddie's as good as Gabriel Jesus because he's not, but he's done a good enough job. We haven't got a player who could be good enough to maintain Beth Mead's role on the side. We haven't got a player who's good enough to be as good as Nielsen-Mornham is close to being that sort of 10 that Viv could be, but it's a different type of 10. And
I think we saw a bit of glimpse of possible Beth Mead's backup in Geo, just a tiny little bit a few weeks ago. I know Matt's watched her more than I have over at Everton on loan, but it's possible. I think it's possible.
It is possible. She's a presser. She has. I mean, she has been said in the interviews and what I've heard online and podcasts that she is that sort of high energy presser. The thing is, she's so young, she's so inexperienced, and she's so raw.
I can confirm she does a wicked Katie McCabe impression.
Oh,
I've seen it. I can confirm. Katie has taught Gio how to put the Irish accent on and say certain things that Katie says. I will try and find it for you guys.
Was it things like 33s and
not the typical stereotypical stuff.
Not so it is, so it is.
All the time. Can't remember what it is, but I will try and find the video for you guys because I know I sent it to one of my favourites over on Arsenal Fans Forever, which is Georgina. So I've also sent that over to her. So I'll see if I can find it for you guys. But it's really good. It's really, really good.
These are things that Katie McCabe often says. Is it things like that was never a yellow card? And
it's only like 2 words, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. So it's something that she says on a regular basis. So that's what's irritating me.
They're probably not 2 words we can repeat on this podcast.
No, it's not that bad. But if you can refrain, I'd really appreciate it.
I was just thinking about, I know we're talking about Gio now, and I've been really impressed with her. The fact that I always go back to that Merseyside derby, she was the one that pressed the ball against Liverpool, and that's how Jessica Park goes and scores that third to win the game, essentially. Game to match.
Do you think she could do that with Frida?
I think she can, but I think...
Even Stina for that matter, actually, come to think of it.
It's difficult. When she came on at City, she was playing as a forward, but she was being folded. And the one issue I have with this, and I have no idea why, on that right-hand side, we took off Victoria Pelova. I love Victoria anyway. She's fantastic, and she's proven to be back to that sort of Euro sort of player that we had, not the player that was trying to take chunks out of
I still haven't quite forgiven her. It still makes me wonder what the first training day was like when she turned up.
Apparently there were a lot of apologies.
But
I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall for that. I will say that.
Yeah.
But she looks really good. I will say that. Although I was absolutely livid with her previously.
I understand how we took Victoria Pelova, who everything was coming down that right-hand side for.
Yeah.
Swap her off for Katrina Cole, who plays more as a central midfielder anyway. So you would have thought if anyone was going to come off, it would have perhaps been Kim or it would have been Frida at that moment in time, not Victoria. And because he took off Victoria, it basically annulled us to the 2-1 loss. And I think this is probably. I think Katrina was wondering about that herself. Like, why am I playing on the right? She looked very awkward, if I'm honest.
But it's a case of, do you take your captain off or one of the top scorers this season off, if you think about it, or do you take the new player off? I think
it's a bit of new players. I remember when we had years ago. I say years ago. It was only a few seasons ago. We had a game against the men's at a game against Aston Villa. This was under the dark days of Emery, and Saka had a blinder in Europe, got his first goal against Frankfurt, and so everyone was excited to see him start against Aston Villa. It was all great, and then Ainsley Maitland-Niles got sent off for 2 yellow cards. And who was so who was the player to be subbed off so they could get a right back on? I think it was Chambers. It was Saka. Bukayo Saka. Of course he would. And I think that is just
that game.
Yeah,
that was traumatizing.
Yeah, it was stupid. We won 3-2, but it was just stupid. The whole thing was stupid. Guendouzi had a worldie of a game, but that's because the whole game was chaos. I think it's the substitution is simply, she's a new player. I'm not saying Jonas doesn't trust her. He just trusts the players like Leah Volti and Kim Little more in the centre of the park. So he said, well, I'll take her off and I'll put a different option on the wing. Yeah. he's still getting to, he obviously wants these players, and he's still getting to know them and learn them. He's putting Gio as a centre forward option, basically as the alternatives to Stina. I think maybe she might be maybe more like, if you think she's more of a Beth Mead player, she maybe would be better operating on the right.
Right, she'll do a fantastic job. She cannot play on that left.
Yeah, I'm not saying Belova should play on the left. For me, Ford should play on the left. I don't like it when Ford's on the right. For me, Ford's either left, and if she's not left, she's central.
That's another weapon that we've also lost.
She kind of just loses herself on the right. For me.
Ford.
Yeah.
Usually when we have Beth and Caitlin, they both swap halfway through the match, and then they swap back up.
Swap wings.
Yeah, but it does make the opposition's defense actually think about what they're doing, because Beth can play on both sides. Caitlin can't quite do it, but it's also a case of terrorizing them and just making them tired to get into the net.
Because you don't know if they're going to cut inside or go down the line. If you know. I mean, I go back another, to the men's team. With Pepe, you always knew what he was going to do, and defenders like, all I've got to do is show him down the line, and he won't get across because he's got no right foot, and that's good. And that's why you saw him, chop more times in a Jackie Chan in a martial arts film. It was just chop, no space, no chop, no space, chop, oh, and the ball's gone, and everyone's frustrated in the stands. And you need that variation.
Yeah, no, exactly. You need that. Thing is, I'd love to see it a bit more in men's football where they switch up top.
Yeah.
But you just, I think that'd be something actually different for them, and I'm not really suspecting.
Well, what we are seeing is with Stina is that she will move into the flanks. So you'll see that what will actually happen now is that rather than the winger switch, the winger and the forward will rotate. So you'd usually have Stina go wide, Viv move forward into the centre.
Yeah.
The problem now is
who do you put in that partnership when there's no Viv? That's the problem.
Because what happens is Stina goes to the channel. There's no one there now. That's the problem. So
I think Victoria is going to have the edge over Frida. Frida will most likely be happy to stay on the edge so she can hit those out the side of the edge of the box. Whereas Victoria will go, right, okay, I'll go into that space that you've just made so that she can play that. It will be something different that they can do. Again, we talk about versatility and having different people at the times, but at the moment, it's Frida's top goal scorer, so you can't take Frida off.
No,
for whatever reason. And she's actually scored some crackers this season as well, and I'm hoping for loads more between now and the end of May.
But it's these relationships, this chemistry, this takes time. This is not going to just suddenly. It's not going to be something that will just it will click. These are players. They've got to learn their movements. They've got to learn their passing. They've got to learn their signals. They've got to learn movements, know where to be in certain positions. And you can tell that this is a season of transition, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the league, I've written it off. Cup, if you get a cup, great. And I think the best way is you've got to play those games like Conti Cup's a cup final. Obviously, we say play every game like a cup final. It's just got to be play, not to lose. I think forget trying to play nice. Just play that game. Not to show off your amazing high pressure, which is make sure you make it as tough and as difficult for Chelsea. I reckon, and just not let them play, and then pinch a goal on a corner or something, and that's it. It's not a game for ultra high intensity pressing, because I just don't think our team is ready for that yet with the players we've got at the moment.
Oh no, the thing is you need to build on what you've got before you can do anything with it.
Absolutely.
As you said. And with the influx of new players we've had, it's going to take time. Although I am impressed with all of them actually, to be honest. I mean, Sabrina had a wicked game in that.
The Conti Cup.
Yeah, in the Conti Cup. I mean, I keep forgetting because it's been 2 weeks and my brain's like.
No, but that was the game we were at, and she was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And we ended up standing in the stands together. So
and,
literally a few people down from was it Leah Williamson's grandmother?
Yeah,
or,
I think a mum. I think it's a mum.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so bad.
I think
because
it's a mum.
She's got red hair, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but there was.
A mum.
Yeah.
I
do apologise. I'm so sorry.
We'll edit that out. We'll put a jingle over the top of that bit. And then no one really the wiser.
Let's try.
I do look back at that City game though. Just at the weekend, I would have probably kept Sabrina in goal because that's where their goals came from. Low ball across the box. Who would have gone and got that? Sabrina.
Yeah.
I would
No,
probably
thing is,
change.
I watched the first half before I went into the men's game at the Emirates.
Mhm.
And I was just like, what is going on?
I would counter that only because Manu had made some amazing saves in that game, especially some of the 1v1s. She kept it at 2-0. That could have been actually first half should have been 4-5-0. As much as there was, for me, there were, especially the first goal, there were defensive mistakes across that back line. Maritz had lost a player on the back post. Lottie let the ball roll in front of her rather than actually
I
clear
let
it.
the ball in, thanks.
Lotta. And
You said Lottie.
I
That's
did,
why
but
I said, what,
I did say Lottie, and thank you for calling up on it. Lotta,
Right.
even more. And yes, maybe Manu come for it well, but it was not just Manu's fault. And if it wasn't for Manu, we would have been so far adrift. 2-1 flattered us on that game. So I was still, I was happy with that. But I think Sabrina's great. She's got a great chant. I like the fact that we got a great chant for her already. These things don't take long. And it is a shame.
Especially when you've got that sort of something A at the end of your name.
It's perfect. It works. She gets the perfect amount of syllables. And
but I still feel like that song still belongs to Viv for me, personally. I prefer it. Meadow.
No.
I do like that. It's Viv's song for me, personally. But
I think it's great, and Sheila, and it's a great song to sing every time she picks up the ball and makes a save, which in that Man City game happened a lot.
It did, and it was good fun.
It was good fun. So
fun. Even Chloe Kelly assaulting the corner flag, that was great as well.
They started chanting at the WSL game, don't hit the flag and things like that. But she was cheat. I don't know if you've seen on the TikTok where they went to take a free kick.
Yeah.
She took away the referee spray and then she moved the ball forward.
Yeah, she did.
I didn't see that. I haven't seen that.
I've seen that. I think that was the BBC TikTok, and I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Scandalous.
Oh, do you know what?
God, shouldn't have been
the women's football TikTok, that algorithm is the place to be. That is so much fun. I mean, I really I know it's international football, but I do enjoy my daily brightness dose. Rachel Daly and Millie Bright, they're just so funny. They're brilliant.
I need to TikTok more than
shirt, so it's acceptable for me.
Yeah.
As soon as she's put that Chelsea shirt back on, no. Don't get me wrong, but it's just allegiances to my club, and it's just I'm an Arsenal fan, and that's the end of it. So that's the end of our third episode, boys, and I've really enjoyed that. But I'm now going to ask Matt's favourite question, as I always do. What is the score going to be for our FA Cup tie on Sunday at 2:00, and also on BBC 2 at 1:45? What was the score be?
Well, I've always thought I'm trying to be more positive this season.
Hey, that's what I like to hear.
And I've gone into things predicting 2-1 wins, and we've cut them away with ones. To be honest, it could be a 2-1 sort of game. It could end up being 1-1 in normal time, and then madness, lot of 20-minute, last minute winner from. Say Manu comes up for a header, does a bicycle kick. That would be impressive. But
yes, that would be a big dream.
You guessed the Conti Cup game correctly, though, didn't you? Did you not say 1-0 when we did the Conti Cup prediction?
Yes.
He did call it.
Yeah, so
you call it, and you didn't say extra time, did you, Matt? I'd have to go back and check.
I think I did say it could go to extra time.
Yeah,
it's
1-0 to Matt on the scoreboard for the rest of the season.
Just how we deal with.
Adam, we need to catch up.
Just how we deal with Chelsea, isn't it? As we got a really good way of getting rid of at the Emirates. We managed to isolate Wright, and if we can do that again, I think we'll be golden this time around. As long as that Australian, I don't know. She's got so much luck. She must wear like a rabbit's foot in her boot.
I'm convinced she's got a 4-leaf clover on the foot that she strikes the ball with. I'm convinced.
She has the biggest amount of luck I've ever seen in a footballer.
I know, right?
And Jordan Henderson plays for Liverpool, when he.
So what's your scoreline going to be, Matt?
I'll go 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal as well. Extra time.
We'll go to replay.
Full time.
Go to replay.
Oh, it's a replay. Oh,
Can't
God,
go to
2-1, 2-1,
Oh,
2-1.
Can't go to replay, can't it?
I thought it'd go to additional time this time
Is
round.
it? Oh, I thought it'd be a replay. I thought it was FA Cup.
Yeah, I thought it was
Oh no,
extra time.
Whilst Matt determines if there is indeed a replay, at risk of never being invited back again onto this, I am not going to predict an Arsenal win. On the contingency,
because it's Chelsea, I might be really deeply offended at this.
On the contingency that we then beat them in the League Cup and win the Conti Cup, I'm backing us to lose this one because we'll win the next one.
Do you know what? I'm greedy. I want both. So.
Oh yeah, we're all greedy, but I'm willing to sacrifice A to win B. And
yeah, but you've already sacrificed the league. You've run out of sacrifice.
Yeah, I am right. There's no.
Oh God, so it could be 100. We could have 120 minutes stuck at Kings Meadow. Oh God, it's bad, and it was bad enough working there.
Is it really that bad though? Really?
Why do you think I'm grateful with that bit? I don't have to go back there now.
Just imagine this week 120 minutes penalties next, and then the following week 120
minutes of penalties.
You know what? That's torture. But one of those games, we're all there. We're there for that final. Yeah. I know. I'm in block F. Adam, you're in D. Yeah. Matt, where did you get your seats?
F as well, I believe.
Oh, wicked! You're in my block, so you can. If there's a spare seat next to me, I'll bring you. You can come sit with me if you want.
Well, I'll be with Melissa, so.
Oh, okay, cool. No, that's fine.
So
I think I'm up in row 9. So just.
Is that Homestead end?
Yeah. That's the Arsenal end. Yeah.
Chelsea fans have tried to get into us because they oversold their lot.
Oh dear, well, must have had a very too small allocation. 5 seats, 6 seats. For me, okay, if I'm going to be serious, I want Arsenal to win, obviously, because what kind of Arsenal fan would want their own team to lose? Because that's just madness. So
recording a couple minute or two. You just predicted us to lose. Let's rewind this recording.
There is a difference. There's a difference in prediction and wanting. In my dream world of fantasy delusion, riding on a unicorn of blissful utopia, Arsenal win this 5-0 and Liard Simona gets a hat-trick, and it's a repeat of 2018, and it's amazing. Exactly. We win that one. But as an honest realist, this is not what I want to happen. This is what I think may end up happening. I'm thinking back to 2018-19 when we last played there in the FA Cup at Kings Meadow, and we lost that game 3-0. And we haven't won at Kings Meadow in all competitions since 2018 when we won 5-0. And as much as I want Arsenal to win, because it's always great to beat Emma Hayes and just do one over, I don't think this is the game when that will happen, and I'm really sorry. So I'm going for a 3-0 loss to Chelsea. That's my prediction. That's not what I want. I'm just predicting to happen. But with the added bonus that if I'm wrong, we're through to the next round of the FA Cup, which is a win.
Well, so I'm hoping you're really, really wrong.
So I'm really hoping I'm wrong.
At you
and if
on
I'm
Tuesday
right,
night.
If I'm right, I have a smug look on my face saying, I told you so.
Did any of you see the actual draw itself, just out of curiosity?
Yes, it was done on the BBC News channel.
So basically, it was done. They had the bag with them. It was Karen Bardsley sitting there at the desk, and she's just rolling around. It doesn't look, to be honest, that draw did not look like it was conducted properly.
The problem I have, this is the problem actually with all the Women's FA Cup draws, and this is actually a major point which I think needs to be raised. It's nowhere near done as professional. When you watch a men's FA Cup draw, you have the draw, you have the presenter, say Mark Chapman, for example, reading it all out. You have 2 people, say ex-players.
With the Champions League, though, they got that right.
Yeah, they got that right.
Does us a favour.
Ellen White and Ellen White's soon-to-be-born child, both of them combining to do us a favour there. Yeah. But yes, you watch the men's draw. You have person A, person B, 2 bowls, all official, all proper, and all exciting. And then with the women's one, it's just very casual, and it's not its own special little program. And I remember last season, I think it was on some daytime TV show with Sam Queck and somebody else. It was like a program that was on after the news. It's good. I can't remember what it was called.
One show.
No, it wasn't even the one show. I mean, I don't mind it being on the one show because it's when they're advertising the FA Cup, but it was a game at some show at 10 o'clock in the morning, and this one was on the BBC News channel.
Oh yes, I remember that. Was it the breakfast?
It's some breakfast, some morning breakfast show. So it's for me, as the FA Cup, women's and men's are usually being played at the same time. Well, the previous round was. Can't the draw be done at the same time? Can't the draw be given the proper? Alex Scott or Ailey Barber or whoever's presenting, Laura Woods, standing at a podium, get 2 ex-players in and do the proper draw as you would with the men's, all the balls out individually into the podiums and reading out the name, and not as a casual, just a chit-chat on a table in the news studio, just fumbling out some balls and popping them into a brown tray or doing over the radio. But that's just my opinion. I think
you think this year they would have got the Queen of the Jungle and European champion to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Get Jill Scott in. I mean,
exactly. She's just retired, European champion, Queen of the Jungle. And
it was, it's just too casual and too unprofessional for me. And that's one of the many. It's just one of the things like that. It just needs improving. But yeah,
but that will come with time. It will come with time. It's just a case of patience. Hopefully,
we can only hope.
Our other drawers will look at the Champions League. Oh yeah, we need to stop doing this, and it's going to take time.
I would say with Champions League draw, I love it to bits, but it does have the most nervous man operating it whatsoever. You know exactly what I mean, don't you? I do remember when they did a draw and he actually dropped one of them, and it's like, and he had to get it back in the ball. And every time he says the rules, it's like, oh God, I'm live on TV. I must get this absolutely right.
Yeah, he says it really quickly. It gets out.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just panics.
I have full sympathy for him because obviously it's very nerve-wracking, and obviously you get things wrong. I mean, it happened with the men's draw, I think last season or season before, when it all went very, very wrong and had to redo the draw. So full credit to him. But every time I see him, I just, I do wish him all the best, because I just get the impression he looks very uncomfortable doing it.
No, exactly. No, totally agreed. All right, boys, that is the final wrap-up of our show.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you guys have really enjoyed yourselves, and I hope everybody's watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you really did enjoy the content, and leave us a comment below if you're going to join us our Tuesday league. That would be really good fun. And we will be back on Tuesday night for a brand new recording. Hopefully I can get it out on Tuesday. If not, it will be up on YouTube on Wednesday. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.